In some teams, it's a debatable distinction. In others, there's not the slightest doubt. Purely by popular demand. You begged it for months. Here's the video on the greatest footballer in the history of every major club. In AC Milan's history, there have been plenty of legendary players. Jenny Rivera, Marco Van Basten, Andriy Shevchenko, but only to have been extraordinary enough to have their jersey numbers retired, a practice that's rare in football. Franco Baresi and Paolo Maldini are, without question, the two greatest footballers in Milan's history, and if we have to choose between them, Maldini wins in extra time. For starters, Paolo holds the record for the most matches played for the club, 902 appearances in the rossoneri shirt, half as a left back and half as a center back. He's also the player who's won the most trophies in Milan's history, 26 official titles, including 7 Scudetti and 5 Champions League trophies. From his debut in 1984 until his retirement in 2009, Maldini played 25 seasons for Milan, and in each and every one of them, he performed at a supreme level. Erling Haaland didn't last long for them. Robert Lewandowski left to become their cruelest executioner. Marco Reus stayed but never won anything truly significant. Borussia Dortmund doesn't have an undisputed historical idol, but Michael Sorg comes to the closest of that title. Sorg was a defensive midfielder who debuted at Dortmund, played 17 seasons for Dortmund, won everything with Dortmund, and retired after winning the Champions League with the only club of his life. However, he wasn't an overly talented footballer and can by no means be considered the best player in the club's history. So, with all the others ruled out, the one we're left is Matthias Sammer, the best German players of the late 20th century. He was born at Dynamo Dresden and failed at Inter Milan. Then, with Borussia, he won 2 Bundesligas, the Champions League and the Ballon d'Or, a distinction reserved for the greatest defenders in history. Captain Sammer led the team in its golden era, and the only reason there's no statue of him outside of Westfalenstadion is because before he could achieve more and play longer, he suffered an injury that forced him to retire from football prematurely. Arsenal doesn't even leave room for debate, because they have an official list of the greatest players in their history. Certainly Brady appears in 8th place, David Seaman is 7th, Robert Pires 6th, Patrick Vieira is 5th, Ian Wright is 4th, Tony Adams 3rd, Dennis Bergkamp is 2nd, and according to Arsenal itself, the number 1 is Thierry Henry. Under Carlo Ancelotti at Juventus, the Frenchman was an erratic winger, whom Arsène Wenger transformed into the best player in Premier League history. Henry was everything at Arsenal. He scored goals, provided the assist, took the penalties, free kicks, and corners, lifted the trophies, and was also the first in line when it was time to swallow bitter defeats. Henry scored 228 goals for the Gunners and delivered 101 assists in 377 matches. He won 3 FA Cups, 2 Premier League titles, and was the flagship of the Invincibles of 2004. Manchester United has 3 great titles immortalized at the foot of Old Trafford. It's the Holy Trinity: Northern Irishman George Best, Scott Dennis Law, and Englishman Bobby Charlton. Dennis won the Ballon d'Or in 1964, Bobby in 1966, and George matched his teammates in 1968. Which of these 3 great legends is considered the ultimate idol and the best player in United's history? The answer is easy: Bobby Charlton, a survivor of the Earth disaster in which half his teammates lost their lives. Charlton was responsible for keeping United afloat until they became the best team in Europe. In 1957, Charlton was an English League champion with United, a year before the tragic Busby Babes accident, and then won what we know now as the Premier League in 1965, 7 years after the trauma. In 1968, Bobby Charlton's United won that we call now the Champions League. Ryan Giggs broke his record of 758 matches for the Red Devils, and Wayne Rooney surpassed his all-time club record of 249 goals. Although, Bobby Charlton is now second in both of those stats, in everything that can be measured, in everything that truly matters, Charlton's legacy at United will never be matched. The greatest idols in Bayern Munich history all came along at the same time. Franz Beckenbauer, Gerd Müller, and Sepp Maier rose together from the German second division. The trio of them transformed the club from zero to hero and turned the once tiny Bayern into the giant it is today. In addition to being the stars of one of the greatest national teams of all time, together they won 4 Bundesligas, 4 German Cups and 3 Champions League titles, and among them, without a doubt, the most legendary is Franz Beckenbauer. The captain played 13 seasons for the club, totaling 584 matches and 75 goals. He won 2 Ballon d'Or awards, and beyond everything he achieved along Maier and Müller, the Kaiser is regarded worldwide as the greatest defender in football history, and he immortalized his sacred number 5, which, in honor of the club's ultimate legend, no one else will ever wear at Bayern Munich.
Hey there! You might know Barak in Spanish. Our channel has over 400,000 subscribers. Well, this is the official English version. Same content, same passion. Now in your language. But we need your help to grow. Hit that subscribe button and join us on this new journey. Now, let's get back to the video.
778 matches, 672 goals, 303 assists, 10 league titles, 7 Copa del Rey trophies, 4 Champions League, 3 Club World Cups and 11 Super Cups, for a total of 35 titles wearing only the Blaugrana shirt. Ladislao Kubala, Johan Cruyff, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho, Xavi Hernández, Andrés Iniesta. Choosing the second greatest in FC Barcelona's history is an impossible task, but the first is as obvious as Napoli's one. Real Madrid was named the best team of the 20th century, and will likely also be the quarter century we've had in the 21st. During the first 53 years of the last century, Madrid was just another team in the pack. Look, in 1953, Barcelona were Spain's most successful club with 6 league titles. Athletic de Bilbao had 5, Atletico Madrid had 4, Valencia had 3, and in 5th place was Real Madrid, a team with 2 league titles, and the last of them 20 years earlier. What happened in 1953? Alfredo Di Stéfano arrived. What happened in 1954? Real Madrid finally won the Spanish League again. What happened in 1955? The first ever Champions League was organized, and Di Stéfano led Madrid to the final. 70 years later, everyone thinks the club was born great. But no. 306 goals in 392 matches, 8 league titles, 5 European Cups, 5 Pichichi trophies, and 2 Ballon d'Or awards. Alfredo Di Stéfano is more than a historic footballer. He's the player responsible for making Real Madrid the greatest. His name is Kylian Mbappe, and he's the most dominant player in Ligue 1 history, and therefore also the most significant footballer in Paris Saint-Germain's record books. Mbappe played 308 matches for PSG, scored 256 goals, and provided 110 assists before leaving at 25 years old. 7 seasons, 6 golden boots, 5 Player of the Year awards, and of course, 0 Champions League titles. But I mean, what are we gonna do? With honorable mentions for Gianfranco Zola and the handsome of the handsome Peter Cech, if you ask 4 Chelsea fans who the greatest player in the club's history is, you'll probably get 4 different answers. John Terry will give you the most romantic one, Frank Lampard the most eloquent, Didier Drogba the most practical, and Eden Hazard the one with the shortest memory. But if it's up to me to pick just one, I won't choose Drogba's killer instinct, nor Terry's passionate leadership, nor Hazard's infinite talent. I'll take a mix of all of those qualities. In 2 words, Frank Lampard, winner of 4 FA Cups, 3 Champions League titles, and 1 Champions League. And to put it simply, no one has scored more goals in Chelsea's history than Frank Lampard. And if that weren't enough, in the assist department, Lampard is also the all-time leader for the Blues. Just imagine how great the best footballer in Juventus history must be. Great enough to surpass Zinedine Zidane and Michel Platini, towering over Dinosaur and Gaetano Scirea, and flying above Gianluigi Buffon and Roberto Baggio. That's how important Alessandro Del Piero is to the Vecchia Signora of Italian football. No one in Juventus history has reached Del Piero's 705 appearances in the Maglia Bianconera. None of their legends have matched the 290 goals Alex scored. Winner of 1 Champions League and 8 Scudetti, though only 6 remain official. That's why Del Piero stands alone at the top. Steven Gerrard and Mohamed Salah are 2 of the 3 greatest players in Liverpool's history, but neither reaches the level of the king, Kenny Dalglish, a skillful, super intelligent, and intuitive forward with a superb touch. Winner of 6 league titles and 3 Champions League trophies, the Scotsman played 511 matches for the Reds, scoring 170 goals and providing 186 assists. Kenny Dalglish is so revered at Liverpool that Anfield's main stand, the one facing the TV cameras, is named after him, the Kenny Dalglish stand. And then there's Giuseppe Meazza, who was so immense that they didn't name part of the stadium after him. They named the entire stadium after him. So great in fact that not even Javier Zanetti or Jacinto Facchetti could ever hope to be more than the second most iconic figure in Inter Milan's history. Always behind Meazza, winner of 3 Scudetti and 3 Capocannoniere trophies. He is, and will surely remain, with 287 goals, Inter's all-time top scorer. When David Silva left, the Chino was considered the greatest in Manchester City's history. Years later, when Sergio Agüero said goodbye, he replaced Silva in the collective imagination as the club's best ever player. Until 2025. Debate all you want, but Manchester City sees it clearly. Kevin De Bruyne is the greatest player in team's history. 108 goals, 177 assists, 6 Premier League titles and 1 Champions League back it up. At least until Erling Haaland retires.